All right, what are we talking about tonight, boss?
Hello, and welcome to Messages and Methods. I'm your host, Shelley Carney.
And I'm your co-host, Toby Younis.
And tonight we'll be talking about how to impact and engage your audience each week with a live cast. I'm going to get into what is a live cast, what does that mean, and how to do that.
Oh, this sounds like a good debate.
Well, you think of that about everything.
True.
You got to argue about everything. Can't just accept my word. I call him the DA, Devil's Advocate. All right. Hello.
If you are in your 50s or older, we've got something wonderful to share with you. Do you want to produce a live stream, podcast, and blog to quickly expand your brand and business? Or would you like to visit with us, tell us your story and share your message with the world? Experience Messages and Methods live stream podcast with Shelley Carney and Toby Younis. Every week we come together to discuss topics related to encore entrepreneurs, content marketing, live streaming video, podcasting, and blogging. We share stories, experiences, and knowledge to help others in their journey to creating a highly visible online presence. Subscribe today and become a part of our treasured community.
Ta-da!
You know the thing I'm going to miss most about Vidnami?
What's that?
It's stock clip collection.
Yeah.
They had the best stock.
Well, we should try to make some more videos before they leave us.
Yeah. Well, people in the Facebook group have mentioned that they're not able to open their account. I haven't tried it recently, but not since we made that last video.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to look into that. Boosted works, but yeah.
It's not the same.
18 doesn't work.
Yeah.
So everything's a mess.
Everything's a mess.
It's all a mess.
It's a mess. It's time.
But let's talk about live streaming because that's not a mess. That's easy. Easy peasy, works every time. All right. So what is live casting? The way that I defined it for this show is it's a combination of live streaming and podcasting. So live streaming, podcasting. So you get live casting. So when we do a live stream, we can engage with our audience. We talk about a topic and we have a good conversation. Then we finish the show and take the audio file and immediately upload it to our podcast. So I call that live casting because we're doing the manufacturing of the podcast at the same time that we're doing a live streamed video. And of course, that allows you to make the most of your time and create content very quickly and easily that then can be in several different places at once. So, we have a somebody in the chat room saying something.
Or just saying hi. It's Brian Gillis.
Hello, Brian.
He's the only one here. No, okay, Tarman's here.
Yeah.
So
good to have you guys here.
Why is my audio off? I should be okay. I always hear myself as an echo. I'm echoing. So I went to the Urban Dictionary because that was the only place I've read could find live casting. So read that and tell me how you fit into that, or you're making up your own definition.
Well, I kind of made it my own, but this one says the act of broadcasting a live video stream directly from your mobile phone's camera to another source, in most cases a website. So they use it in the same way as a live stream, a live cast. But I went ahead and combined because many people are starting to do this. People who are even mostly focused on their podcast, they start with a podcast, they start to grow a community on Facebook, and then they decide, you know what, let's go ahead and live stream while we're creating the podcast. People can watch it happening in the Facebook group, and then people can go, download and listen to it if they weren't able to be there live, or if they want to listen to it again, or whatever it is. So this is becoming more and more popular. So I thought, it needs a name. So I started calling it livecasting.
So what are we doing right now? You and I in this
Mhm.
studio. What are we doing right now?
We're livecasting.
Explain to the folks out there in television land why we're live casting. What makes this a live cast?
Because it's live,
Okay.
and
We're casting.
we're we're doing a show that will be turned into a
What happens?
podcast.
What happens right after the show ends? Tell the folks out there what happens every time we do a show.
We end the show. We open up the file. We download the audio file of the show we just created, and then we upload it into Anchor, so that we have not only a YouTube video and a Facebook live video, but we now have a podcast as well.
What's the biggest difference between the A, YouTube video, Facebook video, and B, the podcast, aside from the fact that there's no visual component?
Well, that's pretty much it. One, it's not live anymore, but then neither is the YouTube or Facebook video, because it's only live while we're here.
Right.
So people in Australia or New Zealand or Timbuktu can watch it whenever they want to watch it, instead of having to be constrained to only while we're live. So they can also do that with podcasts. It's convenient. You can download it. You can listen to it. You can listen to it a few minutes at a time. You can listen to it while you're doing something else. So it just makes it that much more convenient.
So the title of this show is Impact Your Audience by Weekly Live Casting. Explain how that works and how that's going to impact your audience. Wait, but before you do that, I would appreciate it if you'd answered that question, because he keeps asking it in various locations.
Hasn't made any game live streams. Well, about middle of June. Was it early June?
It's been a couple of months.
Yeah. We tried to do one, and we had so few people show up, we couldn't even play a game, and I had to beg my kids to come play with us. And after that, we just kind of said, you know what, we just don't have enough interest here for us to continue to do this. Not enough people are showing up to play the games. We hope to have at least 8 people per game, and we didn't even have that. And even when I begged my kids to show up, and they did, we still only had like 6 people. So it got to be like obvious that it was not a hit. So we just decided that we would not be spending our time on that.
There we are, Brian. There is your full and honest answer. All right, let's get back to what's the topic at hand, and that is, how is a weekly live cast, implying first that I'm live streaming to a YouTube, Facebook, or a YouTube channel and or a Facebook page, and then I'm creating a podcast from that. How is that going to impact my audience?
In a number of ways. First of all, you are available live. If somebody has a question, you can immediately answer it. You can engage with them. They ask a question like Brian did, and you can immediately honestly answer that, and you can spark a conversation. So if I said something in my answer, then Brian can respond as he has, and then we can go back and forth and have basically a conversation, while other people are also listening and watching, so that they're learning from that exchange as well. That is offering engagement and impact in that people are learning from that experience. And then when it is available to people after the fact, then they can also partake in that event, whether there was coaching going on or learning to be had. They can also get the benefit from that. And then if they would choose to also engage, they could leave you comments that you could later respond to. So it becomes this cycle, and each week you put out a new show, and you can answer questions from the week before. If you have anything to bring forward with you, you can do that, and you can just offer that idea to your audience that I hear you, I see you, I want to know you and engage with you.
So there is a neat feature that Anchor FM, which is the podcast distribution site that we use, if you listen to a podcast on Anchor FM on your smart device, there's a button on there that says respond, and you can record a response to that podcast that goes to the podcaster, and
Right.
they can answer it. So it's actually kind of cool. It's not as interactive as being live with a live audience,
Mhm.
but there is some level of interaction there. I think that's a really
And
pretty
there's
cool.
other things you can do as well, of course, but I think this is the foundation, right? You start off with the live stream that then becomes the podcast, and that's the foundation. Then you can start to add things. Maybe you want to add a clubhouse room
Mhm.
once a week where people can come in and chat with you. Maybe you want to add in a blog so that people can read the words. Maybe they want that kind of interaction instead of video and audio. They prefer to read.
Mhm.
Some people do. So when you can offer more ways of consuming your media, your knowledge, the things that you want to provide to people, then you can create a bigger impact because you can reach more people who have that broad range of needs.
You've been using the word impact throughout this conversation and audience. You've never implied that there's any business component to it, because if I was in business and I was using this as a tool to market myself, I would not necessarily want to impact my audience as much as I would want to convince my prospective buyer to go to the next step. So what's the difference between A, impacting an audience, and B, moving your prospective buyer to the next step?
I think that moving the prospective buyer to the next step is a smaller piece of impact, because impact would imply transformation. If I present an idea to you that is completely different than anything you've ever thought of before, but it makes total sense to you, and then you let go of some outdated idea you had and embrace this new idea, you've transformed. I've impacted you in some way, and maybe you'll start to do things different in the future than you had in the past. That's a transformation. Doesn't mean there's going to be a transaction. Could be.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that. But a step in the path and step in the direction towards becoming a client, the know, like, trust, or the visibility, credibility, transformation, trust transformation. It's broken up into 4 pieces, whereas impact would imply the whole thing.
Mhm. So impact is getting a prospective, for a suspect, from a suspect to a buyer. You're talking about the broad range of impact over the life of visibility, credibility, trust, transformation, or the other one that you use, know, like, and
trust.
know, like, and trust. So
Yeah.
So
And they may not necessarily be giving you money, but they
Right.
may be buying into an idea and following you as a leader.
So why weekly and not daily or monthly or biweekly or semi-monthly? Or
So when you do it daily, you can overwhelm people. They can say, I can't listen to this every day. I don't have time to do it every day. Even if it's only 5 minutes, it can be too much because they've already got a full life.
Mhm.
And now they're trying to add you in, and where do they fit you in at? But if it's once a week, people can usually say, you know what, this is important enough to schedule, a certain time that I'll watch it every week, or that I will download the podcast and listen to it once a week as I'm on my walk. And they can commit more easily to 1 day a week. And then you can ruminate. Once you've heard that podcast or seen that video, you can ruminate on the idea for the next week, and maybe even take action on anything that came to mind. Whereas if it's daily, it doesn't give you time to ruminate. It doesn't give you time to take action or to embrace the idea and then move forward with it.
So I like it a lot. I like that it has a name that we can describe it with. I like that it has a purpose because it has a longer life. And conceptually, I like that it's easy to explain. What are we going to do with it?
What are we going to do with it?
What are we going to do with it?
It's basically it's content marketing. Content marketing is when you create content that basically it's telling the world what you do, who you are, what you stand for, and how you can help that certain segment of the population that you focus on. When you put out that content, people can say, yes, that's for me, or no, I'm not interested. So it narrows the focus of who you're going to be talking to and who you're going to be working with to the people that you work with best, are usually people like yourself. In our case, it's Encore entrepreneurs because that's what we are. We want to work with people in our age group. We have an understanding of their needs because we've been there and we've done that. So when you put out the content that is specific to that group, then they understand that this content is for me and I appreciate it and I like it and I want more of it. So that's what content marketing can do for you. It helps you to establish that audience and an understanding with them about what it is that you're working on together.
Well, I feel like we've made a lot of headway over the past couple of months in terms of defining who we are, what we provide, and to whom we've provide it. And it just makes it easier when you have a conversation with a suspect or a prospective customer to be able to describe that. So I'm interested in attending this Zoom meeting tomorrow because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to OBS it and use the virtual OBS to go to Zoom. So it'll have my name and a crawl and great lighting and all that other stuff.
It might be a little overkill. Okay.
Let's see. Brian says, I have a question. Okay. Second. Oh, great. I'm again the only one here on the chat or not. That's all right, Brian. We appreciate the fact that you show up and that you participate.
That's right.
We're fine with that.
And some people just watch and listen and they don't chat.
Yeah. And that's okay too. Pinky thinks
but when you do chat, then we know what it is that you're hoping to see or talk about.
Yeah, or what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
So that's important. Why don't you tell? I'm sorry, you had another question.
No. I did.
You looked at your notebook like you were going to hit me with a question.
No. Well, I mean that to me is the benefits of content marketing.
So why content marketing and not contact marketing?
Well, content marketing is a force of attraction, right? It's just to get you visible and credible. Then the trust and transformation leads to the contact, right? Where you say, reach out and call and text or go to my site or download this free lead magnet or, in some way become a part of this community. By engaging with me, then I'll know that you're out there and that you're interested, and then we can, have a conversation, and then we'll talk about how we can work together.
Because I feel like I feel like generically we're good at content marketing.
Yeah.
And there was a time at which I was really good at contact marketing. But the world has changed, right? You really have to focus first on content marketing with the expectation you will get to contact marketing.
Yeah, there's a bit of a step there.
Yeah.
There's a you got to build that bridge between step 1 and step 2, right?
Like that ramp that Red Lopez went over. Got to
go up the ramp.
Got to go up that ramp
it
and
up.
Ended up in the middle of the oil well fire. So why don't you tell people, we're going to have a short show tonight, but I'm okay with that. Why don't you tell people what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks?
Oh.
And then when we get back from vacay.
Okay. So we have gone back to 1 day a week shows on Wednesday nights for a variety of reasons. One, like I said, is we feel like people get overwhelmed when there's too much content, and they can't watch more than once a week. It's too much. They don't have a place in their life for that much content. So we decided to narrow our focus to 1 night a week for producing content. Also, it frees up extra time for us for contact marketing. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we can start working on reaching out to people on Clubhouse and through networking, virtually networking, and LinkedIn, or in any number of ways, opening up our schedule a little more for those one-on-one calls to get to know people and develop relationships so that we can, increase the prospects who are going through our customer journey. So those are the reasons we've decided to go down to Wednesday only. We're focusing in on what we're doing, and we were spending a lot of time on content marketing to prove we could do it, to prove out some things, make sure that they all worked well together, that you could actually do it this way, and what works and what doesn't. Now I think we're at a place where we know that. Next, Toby will be going on vacation not next week, but the week after, for 2 weeks. So we are going to do a little bit of re-engineering of our
Fabrication.
of exactly what we're doing,
Mhm.
and come back with maybe some new branding and some new music and some
New logos.
new fun things.
But still on Wednesdays at 7
Still
p.m.
on Wednesdays at
Yeah.
7. Yeah.
Yeah, I will be doing my own program on Fridays at 1:00, and I'll be changing the channel. You'll have to come and find me. It's a test. And that
It's a
channel
treasure hunt.
Yeah, you got to do a treasure hunt. And that channel will be dedicated. It's going to be called Lens Perspective, and we're going to deal with topics related to my hobbies, which all have the lens in them: astronomy, microscopy, photography, including drone photography, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where we're going to go with that. And that's Fridays at 1:00.
And he'll be
that's
doing
just
the
fun.
shows while wearing glasses. So, lenses.
Lenses. In Spanish, in Spanish, when I was growing up, they used to say glasses. The word that they used when I was growing up was anteojos. And that's, for the longest time, that's what I referred to when I spoke in Spanish, and I referred to glasses. I'd say anteojos. And then one time I was talking to someone, and she said, she was a Spanish speaker, and she said, "Why do you say it that way?" I said, "What do you mean? Why do I say it that way?" She said, "Do you know what you're saying?" I said, "Yeah, glasses, anteojos, And she said, "No, it's anteojos,
Right.
in front of the eyes."
Right.
And I had literally grown up with that Santa Fe street Spanish. And it's like casao. It's not casao, it's casado. But nobody in Santa Fe says casado. So, anteojos. We both wear them now. So yeah, we'll be doing that, and we'll be here next week, 7 p.m. Wednesday. We'll have a topic related to what we're talking about tonight, and then we're on vacation for 2 weeks, and I'll be traveling to the East Coast to visit grandbabies in 3 different locations: Florida, South Carolina, and Virginia. So, because I have a bunch of new grandbabies that I haven't met yet as a result of the pandemic. So, figured I'd make that trip. That's going to be a 2-week-long trip. Then we'll be back through August, and then we'll be gone for a week in September, right?
October.
Oh, no, October. We're going to take our annual Kevin, Shelley, Toby vacation in October. So
Yeah, well, it's a podcasting convention, so.
yeah, it's a what? It's a
Podcasting convention.
We're not getting that far away from it.
Yeah.
Let's see what these guys have to say. Where is vacation? My vacation. So Shelley's not taking vacation. You're not
I'm not going anywhere.
You're not going anyplace. Yeah, she's taking
Just doing your yard work.
and I'm going, like I said, to Boca Raton, Charleston, and Alexandria. I'd like to know more on drones. I just bought the new, well, it's not new anymore, but I did switch over to the DJI Smart Controller. Oki says, awesome to know more on drones. We'll be talking about that. Drones. I've been flying DJI drones since 2012, starting with a Phantom 1, believe it or not. I currently have the Mavic Air. And I've had the Mavic Air for what, like 2 years?
I don't know.
A little bit longer. You don't keep track, do you?
You sold that other one about 2 years ago, yeah?
Yeah, the red one, the Mavic Air. Well, it was Mavic Air, and then they came out with
Was
the
it
Mavic
a year
Air.
and a half ago?
It's been about 2 years because we had it. We took Mavic Air 2 to Rio de los Pinos, and that was what, 2018
And 19.
and 19. Yeah. So yeah, there'll be talk about astronomy, microscopy, photography, and drones as it relates to taking pictures and making videos. So yeah, all my hobbies, all my toys. All right.
And again, we do look for people who are interested in interviewing with us on Messages and Methods. Specifically, we're looking at people who are encore entrepreneurs and want to talk about their online at-home entrepreneur business and how they developed it and what it means to them and that sort of thing. So if that's something of interest to you, then make sure you go to journey.agkmedia.studio.
I should have put it up there.
It was on the crawl, but then you took it away.
Yeah, journey.agkmedia.studio.
Right. So join us sometime.
So join us soon.
Yeah.
All right, say good night.
Thanks for being here, and we hope that you got something good out of tonight's show. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you let us know that you enjoy the podcast and share it with your family and friends. And for Messages and Methods, I'm your host, Shelley Carney.
Join me Friday at 1 o'clock. You're going to have to come and find me. We'll be unboxing the Ioptron RS80 GPS 400 millimeter telescope. But you're going to have to find me on Lens Perspective. All right. We'll see you Friday at 1 o'clock.
Thank you for joining us for the AGK Media Studio podcast with Shelley Carney and Toby Younis. Please subscribe, leave a great review, and comment with questions or ideas for future shows. Share our podcast with your family and friends and discover how you can become a creative campaign producer at agkmedia.studio or join our Facebook group, Leveraging Your Content. Check the show notes for links and resources, and please come back again next week.